Well, good morning and welcome back to our final fabulous segment here on Cityline. With me, I have somebody who would be everybody's choice for a guest at a cocktail party because she has such knowledge of the history of Tacoma that we would be like, tell us one more story. And who would we be talking to? Well, Miss Jessica Smith, you are the Managing Director of the Tacoma Historical Society. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Good to have you here. I bet you have great stories.
We have some pretty great stories, that's for
I
sure.
bet you do, absolutely. So for those who are new to our area and perhaps didn't know that we have a Tacoma Historical Society, and boy, is it a society to be reckoned with. Tell us about it and what it does.
Yeah, so the Tacoma Historical Society, we do a variety of things. We have an actual museum, which is free to attend. We're open Wednesday through Saturday, 11 to 3. We're over on Tacoma Avenue, just behind Wright Park. And not only do we have an exhibit going on there pretty much all the time, we also have a permanent collections. We have over 14,000 items in our collection that have to do with Tacoma.
Say that again.
Over 14,000. Yeah, so that includes documents and 3D physical objects. And then we love to help people with research. So if anybody ever has questions about where they're living, questions about a specific person, we love to help with that. You can always call, make an appointment with our curator if there's something specific in our collection you'd like to see. And then we also do free programs the second Friday of every month.
Okay.
It's a different subject, different speaker. It's always at the museum. And then we also do special events all the time. So 75% of what we do is free to the public.
Wow.
So most of our programming, save a couple fundraisers during the year, are free to the public to attend. And we just have a lot of fun. So we want people to come check us out and ask us questions.
Because you're also part detective. You have to be if you are culling through history.
It's true. It's
searching for answers from people who walk in with good questions. What is your background like? What got you involved with this?
Yeah, so actually before I became director at Tacoma Historical Society, I worked at the Fort Nisqually Living History Museum. So I was there for about 6 years.
Yes.
Did all sorts of different things, helped with volunteers, did some event planning, but one of my biggest things was I was one of the historical interpreters. So you would have seen me dressed up out there, walking around, talking about all the really awesome stuff that happened back in 1850, at the fort. And I've just always had a huge love of history. My grandpa used to take me to museums. He used to, was constantly going to bookstores, getting books, talking about all sorts of things, and it's just always stuck with me. And so I always knew that I was going to do something with history, and it turned out to be museums.
Your grandpa was a Renaissance man.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Lots of gratitude and love to Grandpa and what he instilled in you. History is fascinating. I adore it. It is like stories that are waiting to be brought to life. The reasons why we do what we do. Certainly there was not a stronger time in our world recently than when we had COVID, and we were going, gosh, let's look back and see if there are any breadcrumbs along the way from 1912 that we can garner to help us get through this. So you mentioned the museum is located in Wright Park, or on one of the sides of Wright Park. Does it cost to get in, at least to keep the doors open?
It doesn't.
Wow.
So we are really we benefit from the Tacoma Creates program, and through their sponsorship, we are able to provide free admission to everyone who comes into the museum. So yeah, it's completely free to come down there. And like I said, a lot of the programming that we do is also free. So our special monthly programs are free to the public.
That's impressive.
To come in, yeah.
I love that. So let's talk about what are your current exhibits that you have right now that would drive people in there?
Yeah, so right now we have a really special exhibit going on. This year is the 150th anniversary of the Northern Pacific Railroad coming to Tacoma. Now, that is a big subject. So what we decided to focus on was how the coming of the train affected those people who were already here in Tacoma and those who were coming to Tacoma. We wanted to really look at it because it's such a diverse and complicated story.
Yes.
For some people, it was this great thing, and for other people, it was not.
No.
You know, and so our exhibit is called Dreams in Dispossession. The railroad comes to Tacoma, and we look at how the train came and affected the Puyallup tribe.
Yes.
We look at the Chinese railroad workers and how what their experience was. We look at immigrants coming to Tacoma, individual entrepreneurs. You know, we look at just a wider story and a micro lens on individuals, because most people know the story of the Transcontinental Railroad, and
Right.
of course we know the big wigs and those who were making the money off of it, but what about all those normal everyday people who were coming and affected? And so we really wanted to make sure that we were looking at this with a responsible lens, realizing that the story is much wider, is much more complicated than just the train coming.
Right.
So it's a really great exhibit. Our curator and our registrar did such a fantastic job. So
Who is
really
that? Tell us
encouraged.
a drop in name.
So our curator is Elizabeth Korsmo.
Yes.
And our registrar is Benkei Inakuchi. And they really did this amazing job. When we were planning and thinking about it, we realized that we needed to look at this in a very different way. And they did just such a great job. Like you said, being detectives, they reached down and they were able to find these stories about, you know, a family of Japanese farmers, and, you know, looking at these women entrepreneurs who are running the Tacoma Hotel and the Blackwell Hotel, and they just, fantastic job. So come and see it.
Come see it.
We also have a really cool interactive where it's a telegraph that's set up, a little telegraph office.
Ooh.
So
Okay, so let's talk about, before we have to say goodbye here, let's talk about, rumor has it there's a tea party coming up for salty feminists.
Yes, we're so excited. It's called the Suffrage Special Afternoon Tea.
Okay.
It's going to be on June 25th at 1 o'clock, and it'll be at the Point Defiance Pagoda. So you can go on our website, you can go on Facebook, or you can go on Eventbrite to purchase tickets. It's $75 a person. It will be a catered tea party, so Galucci's Catering will be having some Italian tea sandwiches, tartlets, scones with jam, all sorts of lovely things. It'll be outside. Then our curator, Elizabeth Korsmo, will give a talk. And then we have a special performance by Barbara Callender and Denise Winter from the Key City Public Theater, who will be performing a scene from May's Vote, which is about, of course, the women's suffrage vote. And the whole program is based on the idea that a bunch of women suffragettes got on the Northern Pacific train to come to Seattle for their 43rd annual conference in 1909, and they stopped in Tacoma. And we have records of exactly what they did, what happened. It was in the newspapers. They got a tour of Metro Parks. So this is in celebration of that, and it's just going to be really cool. We encourage people to wear historic costume if they want.
That's right. Get out those white suffragette outfits.
You'll get a chance to make your own suffrage sash. It's going to be really great.
Oh, that's a bonus.
So,
okay.
yeah.
So last 30 seconds here. Who do we need to thank?
We have some really great sponsors this year. Of course, we're always grateful for Tacoma Creates, but Port of Tacoma, Amtrak, Tacoma Public Utilities, and the Puyallup Tribe have all sponsored us to do all these amazing programs and exhibits this year. So we're so grateful always of that. And of course, for all those people who just individually come and donate and are amazing volunteers. So, yeah.
And I want to say thank you to you and your team for recognizing that there's such heart in history, and that history is not just about a gross national product. It's about how people were treated when change came along. So thank you for being that. And I can't wait to see you down there.
Sounds good.
Celebrate Juneteenth with us on June 19th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Stewart Heights Park. They will have over 100 vendors, food trucks, musical performances, and a keynote presentation by our own Marilyn Strickland. Best of all, it's a free event. Well, that wraps up another great segment of Cityline. It's always a pleasure and privilege to be in your home. We've given you some really great things to think about and be a part of in this city of destinations. So go out there, be a part of the tapestry, and above all, pay it forward. And when you come back, as always, we'll be waiting for you right here at Cityline. Take care.
You're from Green Bay, you're from Atlanta, but Tacoma's where you'll stay, yeah. Tacoma, that's my home, from the pines to the dawn. Tacoma, that's my home, yeah. Tacoma, that's my home. Tacoma, that's my home, place I call my own. Tacoma, that's my home, yeah. Tacoma, that's my home. Alright, you're from the East Coast. Alright, you're from the West. Alright, you're from the middle, but Tacoma's still the best. Alright, you're from the East Coast. Alright, you're from the West. Alright, you're from the middle, but Tacoma's still the best.